All right, everybody, this is the baseball, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut, and hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button, and we're back here getting ready for the season, the 2025 season. I'm getting ready for spring training, but there are quite a few former Mets are sitting out there, unsigned. I'm going to go through them, and SI has this wonderful article. I've not read it. I have to give my initial response to it. I don't know what I'm going to say. Which 2024 Mets are still without a team? 6 notable Mets of the OMG 2024 Mets roster are still available on the free agent market as spring training approaches. Let's skip the preamble, shall we? Let's skip this monkey crap. Now, I would mention, took some time off just to get away from it all. First up, Jose Quintana, 2.5 baseball reference, wins above replacement. Quintana's 36 had his ups and downs with the Mets, but overall he was a steady presence at the back end of their rotation. At the posted 3.57 ERA and an injury-shortened season the year prior, veteran left-hander went 10-10 for 3.75 ERA and 173rd innings, generating a 48.2 ground ball rate, which ranked in the 79th percentile according to StatCast. He turned a 0.74 overall ERA in his final 6 regular season starts and carried that success into the Mets' first 2 postseason series. Quintana tossed 11 combined scoreless frames against the Brewers and Phillies, but was not as sharp against the eventual World Series champion Dodgers in the NLCS, surrendering 5 runs and 3 1/3 innings. Now, he pitched really well in the postseason. He is one of these pitchers, I think I mentioned him during the season. Either he pitches really well or he pitches poorly. That's why he's a 500 pitcher. But you always know you can get a professional game out of him. But if he doesn't have his stuff in the first inning, he's not going to have it. You know, he's one of these pitchers. But when he has his stuff, you'll know right away, and he's always good. Due to the Mets' rotation depth, a reunion does not appear likely. While none of Quintana's metrics jump off the page, he can still help a team in need of a reliable innings eater and veteran presence. He's the kind of guy that would go to a bad team and then get flipped at the trading deadline. Like the White Sox. He can go back to the White Sox. He'll get a spot to pitch. And then they'll trade him. Next up, Phil Maton. Maton had a 0.9 WAR. Maton's 31 was required by the Mets in a trade with the Rays on July 9th. 31 appearances with the team, he posted 2.51 ERA, a marked improvement over the 4.58 ERA he recorded in his previous 40 outings. During the postseason, Maton struggled, allowed 6 runs in 6 1/3 innings, including 4 home runs, 4 walks, and 11 hits. The right-hander suffered a blown save in Game 2 of the NL wildcard against the Brewers, putting the team on the brink of elimination, before they ultimately rallied to advance the NLDS and later the NLCS. Do we really want to see him back? I don't know. I don't think so. The Mets declined his $7.75 million option, paying a $250,000 buyout. They did bring back Ryan Stanek, which is good. He's now here's the thing about Maton. He's a very good postseason pitcher, but he's seen them run out of gas in postseason for the Mets. Next up, JD Martinez, 0.5 WAR. He's 37, did not make his regular season debut until late April due to missing spring training as a late free agent pickup and battling back soreness. Former All-Star designated hitter played 120 games for the Mets, batting .235 with 16 home runs and 69 RBIs and 495 at-bats, play appearances, but he struggled heavily in the final months of the season. The last month and a half is a real struggle. It's a real struggle in September. Unless the Mets trade Starlin Marte, they seem likely to platoon him with left-handed hitting outfielder Jesse Winker in the DH spot, effectively making Martinez a poor fit for their current roster. But for teams in need of a veteran power batter or leadership in the clubhouse, Martinez could be an ideal late offseason addition. Now, he is an interesting hitter because he looks so good, and he just sort of, I don't know if he got old or... That happens sometimes with players. In the middle of the season, the player will get old. That might have been what happened with him. I mean, he hit so well was such a big part of the Mets' turnaround in June and July and part of August, and then to see him just sort of fall off the table, you sort of move on. And I also would say, he's a borderline Hall of Fame DH, because he is borderline. I mean, he's a borderline run producer during his time, so he's going to get a long look for the Hall of Fame when his time comes. Next up is Brooks Raley. Now, Raley was 36, with a crucial member of the Mets bullpen in 2023. The veteran southpaw produced a 2.80 ERA with 61 strikeouts and 54 2/3 innings. Unfortunately, last year, he suffered a torn UCL in his elbow that required Tommy John surgery. According to Ken Rosenthal, a.k.a. the Munchkin, and Will Salmon of The Athletic, Raley's joined from multiple MLB clubs and has discussed multi-year contract arrangements. This type of structure is common in today's game, allowing teams to bring in players, let them rehab with the team before potentially returning late in the season or contributing in the following year. Mets already brought in A.J. Minter on a 2-year deal that includes an opt-out to help fill the left-handed bullpen void. So I don't think the Mets will be interested in bringing Raley back. Adam Ottavino. I don't think anybody's interested in him. I don't think anybody's interested in him. And he might be retiring, because there was talk that he was going to retire. Now, the last guy they didn't mention, I thought they mentioned him in here. Go back up a little bit. Maybe I missed him. But, of course, please subscribe and like this video. I don't know if they mentioned him. So, maybe I skipped him. Okay, here we go. Obviously, leave the best for last. Best for last because he's one of the more popular Mets on last year's team. That's Jose Iglesias. Cantalita, the sensation, the Grammy-winning sensation. He won a Grammy. I don't know if you know that. Best Latin song. But the thing about Jose Iglesias, and the biggest thing that there's an issue with, is that Iglesias is 35 years old. Okay? And he did a great job last year. He had 337, 4 home runs, 16 doubles, 39 runs, scored 39 runs in 85 games. He played well defensively. And he was a big part of the turnaround, because his enthusiasm, his energy, and that song really helped this team galvanize itself and get itself up off the deck. But the issue is the age. He did not play in 2023. Okay, so baseball turned their back on him because they didn't think he could do it. Now the Mets signed Nick Madrigal to be the sort of the backup, infielder, but the Mets don't have a backup shortstop. Okay, plus they have is Luis Angel Acuna, and he is the guy that's probably going to be on this roster. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't. The backup shortstop. Now the Mets brought back Pete Alonso. It kind of cuts down on the ability of guys like Brett Beatty and to a lesser extent Ronnie Mauricio to get at bats going into the season. Brett Beatty's going to get a long look, folks. They're going to finally figure out what the deal is with him. He's going to get a lot of playing time. Acuna's going to get a lot of playing time too. Okay. And Ronnie Mauricio, he will play when he's healthy, but he's not going to play until he's healthy. But Iglesias' time with the Mets is probably done, because you can't have a 35-year-old middle infield and you got all these young guys that deserve to play. Luis Angel Acuna has to play. If he's on the Mets, he has to play. Even if he's playing part-time, play a little bit shortstop, play a little bit in second, in the outfield. Iglesias, his range shortstop isn't what it was, because he was a shortstop for a long time. And he can play second. He's got great hands. He can play third. But the Mets going to want to play Vientos more at third base late in the game to give him a shot. And that's why they signed Madrigal. I knew when they signed Madrigal that they were going to re-sign Pete. So I thought that was a pretty obvious move, an obvious sort of pivot, as you will, to what the Mets are going to do. Because then they'll just bring him, because he's a good defensive third baseman. They'll bring him late in the game if he makes the team at spring training. But Iglesias, it was great to watch. And I would mention, I want him to make the club out of spring training. I didn't want Joey Wendell here, because Joey wanted to have a lousy spring. He played lousy the first 2 months, and Iglesias deserved to be with the Mets when the Mets came up north. But they didn't do that. And the rest is it. But anyway, the Mets have a very good team. You just move on, and that's how baseball is. You just move on from some of these players. I wouldn't mind bringing back Quintana, but there's no place for him to pitch. Iglesias, if he was on a lesser team and he played well, he'd probably return to that team. But this team wants to win a World Series. They're still trying to be younger, more athletic, and there are guys that are more athletic than him. So that's how it goes. That's baseball. That's sports. So you let me know what you think about this video, and of course, please subscribe to Baseball Hut, and I'll see you later.